I just had some thoughts about narcissistic abuse. Now, narcissistic abuse is quite interesting because largely the only way that narcissistic abuse is working is if you're not aware it's happening. And what you find is that a lot of women who've been in relationships with narcissists don't know it until they try to break free. Now, narcissism relies on gaslighting and the creation of dissonance, and then fear to uphold that dissonance, but the fear has to not be acknowledged. And once that dissonance is broken, it kind of comes crashing down in waves. And it causes a reconstruction in your understanding of power dynamics that you can never undo. So once you have been on the receiving end of a narcissist, you can always see it. It's one of those things. It's one of the reasons that I can always see, one of the reasons that I can see power dynamics is I've had to reconstruct my understanding of power so many times, professionally and personally, that I can see power dynamics often a long time before other people in a really abnormal way. By the way, that's dysfunction, that's not normal. But narcissistic abuse basically relies on that dissonance, and it also relies on you not being that dissonance, creating a situation where someone is reduced to an object and you can't see the reality underneath. So because Amy Challoner was seen as an object, nobody saw that this was actually a very disturbed young man exhibiting extreme behaviours. And it's that effect that means that the victims of a narcissist can't be seen by anybody, even though it's happening in front of you. And this is really difficult. And that's why what you have to do with narcissism is say what it is, say what it is, say what it is, until that dissonance crashes down. Now, around the word terf, that dissonance should be coming down in fucking waves. And I wanted to talk about welfare claimants and the relevance of this to welfare claimants. Now, we have had a political economy where narcissistic abuse of benefit claimants has been perpetuated by media for about 30 years. And that's no longer possible because there's this social dimension to political communication, so they have to deal with welfare claimants like me online while they're trying to sell these narratives, which is why they then have to behave abusively. And it's essentially the same dynamics that mean that even though, like literally, I'm not joking, in excess of 100,000 people have been killed by welfare reform, nobody could see them as people. And what should happen as a consequence of this whole sorry situation around trans rights and Amy Challoner and, you know, the women assaulted at Speaker's Corner and the things we've all had to do, is that should cause a reconstruction in people's understanding of power at a policy-making and politics level. And other people should then be aware when this is occurring. And that kind of offers hope for us in this process. It's about, like, the thing that's going to change now is that those welfare claimants are going to be seen as people. And the same process of dissonance crashing down should happen with that, although a bit more slowly and over the next year or so, 2 years. Especially as institutional breakdown means that we have to address that now. I'm not entirely sure what the point of this video is, apart from to say that that process occurring is really, really important. And once that process has occurred, it can never be undone. It's a remarkable thing. And we're in a period of immense change. And what this crisis has done is it's caused a reconstruction in people's understanding of power while a lot of other crises are going on. And you should see lots of crises like this self-ID crisis where this occurs, where all of a sudden we're faced with things and going, how did we not see what was in front of us? Well, that's the process. And none of us are immune from it. It's very, very powerful. It's why media democracy and tabloid democracy was so powerful, because until social media we never had the chance to answer back. We're in a period of intense blame, of intense change right now. And it's really worth keeping an eye on the processes over the next couple of years and actually looking at what's just happened with the word terf and remembering this process as that occurs. I think. I'm not entirely sure if this would make sense to anybody who's not me, but I'm going to post it anyway.